Hey guys, welcome back to One MUFC. My name is Mohak Reds, and this is an independent MUFC fan channel, a fan channel for all the fans around the globe and not just for the Indians. You might judge us because the whole panel is full of Indians, but then again, we are trying to gather as many people as possible so that we provide a stage to the global audience to speak and to express themselves about MUFC. Now tonight we have with us three of the most special guests. Tanmay was here last night as well. So welcome back, Tanmay. We have with us
Hey man,
Vignesh and Parth. Parth is a regular football player and a person who likes to write about United a lot. And he used to cover the podcast as well. And on the other hand, Vignesh, a great spectator and a great analysis of the game. So here it goes, Parth. I start with you. Do give us a little bit of introduction and tell us how you started following United.
okay, technically I started following United very late. Unfortunately, it was after Sir Alex's era, because I'm only 22 right now. So, properly I started watching in David Moyes' first season, somewhere around the second half of the season actually. But I started rooting for United much earlier in 2007-8 kind of years when I had just started playing FIFA, and every single year Manchester United used to have a rating of 5 stars, and obviously love to play with Ronaldo. So since then only started rooting for this red shirt and rest as the stage is.
All right, all right. Good to hear that fans started watching and supporting United post Sir Alex as well, because it's a really
Yeah,
really difficult situation for us since Sir Alex has left the club. So Vignesh, what's your
yeah.
story?
Yeah, hi everybody. I hope everybody is doing fine in this global pandemic. My name is Vignesh. I actually started following United in season 2007-8. My love for actually football began with Cristiano Ronaldo, and unfortunately, I started following in his last season. But I was never a regular fan who used to watch the entire game and all. I used to watch 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. That's all. I only had a few glimpses of Ronaldo, but my love for United actually grew after Ronaldo left, and again, I was not a regular. I started watching regular, thankfully, since 2011. And I was fortunate enough to watch our title winning 2013 season, which was a disaster. What happened afterwards, but yeah, I was fortunate enough.
Absolutely. And Tanmay, a little bit of introduction.
Yeah, so again, started following in the 7, 8, 8, 9 season ish. My reason is a bit different. I guess I've started following because of Wayne Rooney, not Cristiano Ronaldo. So I guess there's a different reason, but yeah, he's practically the reason I started following football. So I guess that's the thing. Plus, United was a attractive acquisition anyway to follow. So had a quite a nice ride. It's been like 14, 15 years now. So it's great.
Absolutely. So before we start the podcast, before we start the discussion, if you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon button so that you can be notified whenever we post our new videos. So tonight we are going to talk about our center back situation and the necessity which the media is making for us to sign a new center back, because according to me, I don't feel like that we need to invest in a new center back, because more than we need to invest in a center back, we must sign a CDM and a right winger first, because if you can sort your midfield first, then you can clearly manage your center back position very well. So we'll start this discussion. Vignesh, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on the current situation that we are in at the moment? And today Fabrizio also said that United are in the market for a new centre back. Rafael Varane, Jules Koundé, and some other names are also being mentioned. So what are your thoughts on this situation? And do you really feel that we must sign a centre back before we sign a CDM or a right winger?
No, I completely agree with you. Centre back should not be the priority this window. I feel we've got Lindelof and Maguire who, managed to stay fit for a longer period of time. You can almost say entire season they can stay fit and play those games. But again, it's a situation of just a matter of time. One of them will get burned out, especially Harry Maguire. The guy has played literally every minute of the league now. So I feel I don't think if Bai and Tuanzabe, had they managed to stay fit, we would have been having this conversation about centre back. And we all thought that Axel might be a decent backup for these two, but turned out to be he also started picking up injuries and all, and it's all clearly not helping us. But in my opinion, yes, we should not go for a centre back. If we are to sign crucial positions, it's right wing and a central defensive midfielder. Now I know a lot of people will think, how can we manage the entire season with only Lindelof and Maguire? If we look, Scott McTominay also can fill in that position
Yeah,
at times. He plays for Scotland as a centre back,
yeah,
in a three. So if there is any situation where Lindelof or Harry get burned out or get injured, I think McTominay can fill that role.
absolutely. Parth, we had so many discussions on this topic on the WhatsApp group as well, that people over criticize Maguire. People over
Absolutely.
criticize Lindelof every now and then, and this has become a habit of ours. The younger fans who started watching football uh, post Sir Alex, or those are the teenagers that just want to win trophies. They don't want to see the progress in the team, but all they care about is
Yeah.
the trophies. So, judging by their performance of this year, I don't think that Lindelof or Harry Maguire have been average. They have been pretty good, to be very honest, for us, because as the
Yeah.
season has progressed, we have seen that those two have built a really good partnership between them. And
True.
Eric Bailly is a ruthless, is an orthodox defender, and I love Eric Bailly. But you cannot rely on Eric Bailly in all games, because he is too injury prone, and then again he's a bit reckless. He has that
Hmm.
tendency of throwing his leg on things where he should not. So
True.
I mean, the situation is like this, that the fans are pressurizing the board to sign a new center back, even when we definitely don't need to, because if you look at our defensive mid, it's clearly in shambles at the moment, because we are forced to play Fred and McTominay, who are not holding midfielders, who are number 8 players, all right, who are
Yeah.
box to box
Very true.
players.
Very
And when you play makeshift players in those positions, then you cannot criticize them, because it's because they are being forced to play in those positions. They are not playing there because of their own personal choice. They have been forced to play in those positions, and it is so natural that a player who is playing out of position, you talk about Greenwood,
true.
who is playing out of position and is not delivering at the moment for us. So it's not the player, it's the management that is behind the failures, the regular failures. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, Mohak bhai, I completely agree with you. Every match day, no matter how small the mistake, Maguire gets absolutely blasted off on every WhatsApp group that I am a part of, and it breaks my heart a little to see that, because people keep labeling him as slabhead and as a big refrigerator and whatnot. But my question to those sections of the fan base is that if tomorrow Maguire was to go out injured, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to ship so many goals. You're going to ship so many goals that you're going to be praying 3 times a day for that guy's fitness. And he's been absolutely phenomenal for us. And I quite like Victor Lindelof. I think there's a player there. I think he needs to improve a little bit of his physicality, little bit of his agility as well. I know those are two contradictory things, but I think if he was to improve one of those things, then he would definitely be a better partner to Maguire and to himself for that matter. As far as Eric Bailly goes, I mean, look, I agree with you. Eric is a phenomenal defender. When he was putting in a string of games together for us, where he was just performing week in week out, that was absolute class by him.
Absolutely.
But then again, I mean, he went out injured, and there's been no concrete return for him since then. So I think that before looking at centre backs in the market, you need to take a good and hard look at what you already have. And I think that Axel Tuanzeb, there's a player there. There's a big player there. He needs to be mentored right, and he can be big. And more than Axel Tuanzeb, right now, one of our academy prospects is being trained by one of our legends, which is Caden Mengy over at Derby County by Wayne Rooney. And I think that Ted and Mengi, I mean, to be very candid, the guy is a psychopath, and he could be an absolute class defender,
He's
be
a
a
monster.
destroyer kind of defender for us. He's a monster. Yeah, he is a monster. He can also be deployed at right back, at centre back, wherever you want him to be, and he will just give you cutthroat competition. So I don't think that the centre back issue is anything more than propaganda by the media and by some section supporters, as you rightly said, that are merely here for glory hunting. So that those are my views regarding the centre back position.
Absolutely. Tanmay, Andy Mitten in his recent, podcast with Athletic, as we guys, regularly follow those podcasts, has mentioned that if United were about to trust Axel Tuanzebe, in the first team, they would have never went in the market for a new centre back. So, do you think
Yeah.
that Solskjaer doesn't trust Axel Tuanzebe, and this is the reason we haven't seen much of him in this season's games on a regular basis? Because that guy is phenomenal. There is no doubt about it. He's a much more mature player than what we have witnessed in different teams in this season, even at Chelsea or at Man City. We were crying our heart out to sign Nathan Ake, who is not even playing for Man City this season. And when I talk about Axel Tuanzebe, he is the kind of defender who can play in any role. You can fit him in a CDM role. You can fit him in at the left back. You can fit him in at the right back and as well as at the centre back position. So you are destroying a player who is so versatile. You are not giving him enough opportunities, not just in the Premier League. Forget about Premier League. You're not giving him enough
Yeah.
opportunities in the cup games as well. What are your thoughts on this?
It has to be he doesn't trust him, or I think it has to be that there is something that we don't know about his injury issues, right? There has to be something because he was out for a year in between. I mean, in fluctuations, all right, but effectively a year. So there has to be something of an if that knee problem is something serious that he can't get in a string of games like 2 3 games together and that problem elevates. I guess that has to be something that maybe the media or the public has not caught up to yet, or that is something that I guess the club would like to keep it to ourselves when before I guess deciding anything on it. There must be that reason or the simple reason that the manager doesn't trust him. I knowing how good he is and knowing how better he can be, I think it's not like Solskjaer doesn't know that. I think it's something injury based because we often hear that he has a slight knock, he has a slight niggle. There must be some underlying problem that we as a fan base are not aware of it or the club have not made it known, I guess. So I think I would like to trust that rather. I think there is something going on behind the scenes on him. Maybe prepare him for next season. Maybe just have him this season to recover and rehabilitate or something. But I think there is something going on behind the scenes, and I still think he'll be a United player, contrary to what people think.
Absolutely. People often talk about our failures in the semi-finals, under Solskjaer, but they never talk about how we reached those semi-finals. Solskjaer is the first
Yeah,
manager who has reached, at least in the quarterfinals in each and every cup that he has been part of as a manager.
6 times, I
So
guess.
it's a pretty good record. Yes, we haven't reached the finals. Yes, we haven't reached a trophy. Lifted the trophy with Solskjaer yet. But then again, it's a process. It's a step by step process. You cannot. Arteta has won the FA Cup, but how well has he performed since then? He hasn't performed really well. So what is the point of winning a trophy and then going down the drain? It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. If you are building a proper momentum, you know and building a proper team to win trophies on a regular basis and to maintain that level of football throughout the whole season, then it makes sense. It doesn't make sense if that you are winning a trophy and then for the rest of the season you're being so shit. It's not going to work well for a club like Manchester United, because as fans, we are very demanding. We are the set of fan base that is very very demanding. So
yeah,
now, our defensive mid situation is in crisis at the moment, because other than Matic, we have no one. And the problem with playing with no identified CDM is that, when Harry Maguire takes the ball forward, he leaves those spaces at the back. And whenever we have played Matic in there, he has that sense of responsibility that he covers those spaces for Harry Maguire. But I don't see those kind of things from Fred or even from McTominay. And with Matic, you brings in some creativity along with the defensive work rate. But whenever you play McTominay or Fred in that position, the creativity, is not there, not even 1%. And we leave all the responsibility on the shoulders of Bruno. So now you have two very good options, who are currently playing in the Premier League. One is Declan Rice, a monster of our
Yeah.
CDM. He has been brilliant not just for this year but for last 3 years. And a guy named NDD, man, how good he is. Seriously, he is,
I agree.
what I can say, a mirror image
I'm
of
a big fan.
Kante, a mirror image of Kante,
Yeah.
to be very honest. So, what are your thoughts
Mhm.
on this? That do we have to go for Declan Rice, and if not Declan Rice, definitely for NDD? I'll start with Parth here.
Okay, so NDD is a very nice player, and I'm a big fan of his game. I've seen him play. I've seen his distribution, but more than his distribution, I'm a fan of his tackles. I think we already have a monster in Van Bissaka when it comes to tackles, but he's making those tackles in the wrong on the wrong side of the pitch. So it needs to be in the middle. It needs to be at the place where you cover the back four, which is the defensive midfield position. And if NDD was to be signed by us, that would be a game changer. Ideally, it would be a game changer. First of all, it would render. I think it would render Matic and to an extent Fred obsolete. I mean, Fred, you could make the case he could play for us in cups and all, but I think Matic would then be just moved on to Benfica or something. And more than that, you know, just covering that back four properly, which we have not had in our side for a long time. First, we thought that Fosu Mensah could probably, you know, succeed in that role, but he did not. And now we are hoping that Tuanzeb is a that kind of a player who can also play the defensive midfield position. But I don't think he'll be moved on to some other position. I think his requirements lie in the back four. So I think that NDD would be great. Then again, Jesse Lingard is doing particularly well at West Ham, and I think that even though he is doing well, I mean, I'm happy for him. I like the guy, but I don't think there's a future for him at United. And if West Ham were to be enticed by his late results, then I believe that you could swap him with Declan Rice, and that would be just as good an acquisition. I mean, either of them, Rice or NDD, would be a massive upgrade for us because Matic is just, he's near the end. He's near the finish line. He needs to be moved on. And we need to. I don't know what's going on at the club, but we really need to cut off the umbilical cord. We still have Marta on our books. We still have Phil Jones on our books. A lot of players who need to be moved on. Uh, and yeah, so I believe that TDM is a great issue for us and must be solved. Ideally, Rice for NDD, but if not, then we could look at somebody like Tonali or Camavinga even. So those are my views.
Absolutely. Parth, as you mentioned, Kamavinga and Tonali. Tonali is definitely not going to come to Premier League because his dream club is AC Milan, and there is no way that he is going to, leave this opportunity that he is getting at the moment by playing for the club that he loves. And talking about Kamavinga, he's then again, a box to box player. You'll not be making a very good decision by signing that player, because at the moment you clearly don't want to sign another box to box player, because we already have enough box to box players in our squad. What we need to do is we need to sign a CDM at the moment. And one thing I like about Jose Mourinho, that if he gets the opportunity to make signings that he likes, look at the way he just brought in Hoybier from Southampton. you know you don't have to go for big names every now and then. It doesn't make any sense. You can go to the lower leagues as well. You can get the player that you want. It's just about proper scouting. Yesterday Tanmay and I were
Yeah.
discussing about the brilliant scouting system that United has. But it's if the scouting system is giving you the details and you're not implementing, if not, you're not using those details to to bring some output out of it, then it makes no sense. It is of no use. So Dharma, as you know that the whole fan base is crying for us to sign Erling Haaland, but then again no one is mentioning that our right hand side of the pitch is dead since 2012. Ever since Nani left the club, we have been pretty what I can say, on our bare bones, because
Yeah.
we create nothing from our right hand side of the pitch. It's like every time Van Bissaka takes the ball forward, I feel like all right, it's going to come back to Matic or to Rashford, and then we'll see something from the left hand side, but not from the right
Yeah.
hand side. So do you think that United should go all in for Jadon Sancho this summer, because there is no other right winger available at the moment, a right winger of Jadon
Yeah.
Sancho's quality? So people who
Yeah.
are saying that why Sancho, why not others, just name the players that are available at those
Yeah.
positions. There are none. There are simply no players at the
Yeah.
moment that holds the same quality as that of say Jadon Sancho. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, exactly. People will point out a few like maybe Leon Bailey or Rafinha, but again, those are unrealistic targets, right? Rafinha plays for Leeds. He just signed for them, so not happening. Again, Leon Bailey, again another inconsistent player, also a left-sided player more often. So again, not happening. So Jadon Sancho is in a whole different ballpark. And again, after seeing my club having a non-existent right wing for pretty much 8 years now, it's just I think the patience has run out, right? And there's I think a mutual understanding between us that we find it hard to break down teams that are hard to break, right? But I guess that's due to we are such a left-sided team that I think people know that block that side, block Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and we are easy to figure out, right? Because anything we do comes from the left.
Absolutely.
Nothing comes from the right. Mason Greenwood gets the ball, he comes inside, tries to shoot. He doesn't try to create. So we I think that's a big reason why we fail to break down teams, because people know how we play. It's not we don't know how to play with the right side, right? Van Bissaka doesn't help himself either. So that's a thing. That's why I feel again, and Erling Haaland is the new shiny toy everybody would like. He is the new big thing. But I heard in a podcast recently that he hasn't scored in his last 5-6 games for Norway,
Yeah.
and Norway are pretty shit at creating. So that's the reason. And if I just have a feeling that if he comes to United, again, Bruno likes to shoot, Rashford likes to shoot, Martial Green would like to shoot. Again, I think Haaland will just half his output already, because although he's a pretty damn good player, he'll still need creation.
Absolutely.
At Dortmund, all you get is creation. At Norway, you don't, and he hasn't scored in his last 6-7 games for Norway either. So that tells me that he needs creation, and we are pretty poor at creating sometimes, because all we want to do is score and not create. So Haaland is a new shiny toy, but Sancho has always been the need, and with the quality he has, he's English. He'll stay here for a long time. I guess it's just sensible decision to go for Sancho, which is why we probably won't.
Oh, very well said. Vignesh, when we bought Romeo Lukaku, he was the second highest goal scorer in the Premier League. You know, all the fan base was so happy when we signed Romeo Lukaku. But once the season progressed, and once he started missing those chances, and once he was not getting the opportunities that he was getting at Everton, because we were not creating those many chances for him, so his numbers fell down, and the stats were start to tell you that he is not performing well for us. Imagine the scene if we sign Erling Haaland and same situation arises. Then what will we do?
Exactly.
By paying 180 million for a player who is still a teenager, who is still developing himself, and who is not a developed player already. So, what are the probability that if we are going to invest this much amount, and a player whose agent is Mino Raiola, so you cannot rely that he'll be here for the next 5 or 6 years. At bare, the maximum that he'll stay here is 2 or 3 years, because every club will want Erling Haaland if he shines at United. We all know, what happens in today's market if a player is performing well. Clubs like Man City, PSG, not Real Madrid, because Real Madrid has stopped paying, for these much amount for their players. It's Barcelona that have stepped up in the market for such kind of players. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that, if we sign Erling Haaland, that would be a very wise decision?
No, I think Tanmay took all my points and he clearly
Very
made
bad.
a very he clearly summed it up for me. I think the correct number for Erling Haaland without scoring a goal is three. I mean, I checked this evening as well.
Yeah,
He haven't scored in the last three national games. So that sums it up. I mean, if you don't create for a striker, he's gonna, get dried out. The goals will not be there. You also mentioned Lukaku and how his first season was beautiful compared to the other, where he struggled in the second and the third one before he left. So even if you guys have noticed, even when Lukaku was here, apart from his first season, in his second season he was struggling for goals. So what he used to do is he used to drag himself out at the right wing and he used
yeah,
to create for others.
yeah.
Now that best example is that Chelsea goal where Jesse Lingard's goal, where Lukaku, where
The
he
header.
came from 1-0 behind to 1 at Old
Yeah.
Trafford.
Yeah,
So he dragged himself out. He created that opportunity for Lingard to head. Now, in that situation, you want your centre forward to head that ball, isn't it? And someone
absolutely,
else to create. But
absolutely.
that was an exact opposite situation. And I feel and I fear that if we decide to sign Haaland over Sancho, we're going to see another Romelu Lukaku situation all over again because he's not going to get any service from the right wing. Where all the creativity will be lied on, the duties will be shared by Shaw and Rashford and Bruno. But again, Tanmay also mentioned that these players like to shoot, cut inside and shoot. Apart from Luke Shaw and Bruno, does they likes of Rashford, Greenwood and Martial, they don't cross enough. All they like to do is cut on to their favorite foot and shoot.
The reason why we got
So the
eliminated for Champions
creativity,
League.
exactly. I mean, the creativity is not there. I mean, with all due respect, if Martial gets those the service, the kind of Haaland gets, he'll also score 30 plus. He'll
Absolutely,
also score 30 plus.
absolutely.
That's what I feel.
You know, you mentioned that that the likes of Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood are selfish at times, and that is pretty natural because these players are centre forward or left winger at trait. You know, these are not the players that are creative. That
Yeah,
because when I talk about Rashford, I see a cold scorer, just like Salah.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
overhyping Rashford here, but this is what I feel because Rashford I've seen at times, even if he sees a player that is available, and has a clear chance of scoring, he likes to go for the goal himself. And same is with Greenwood. I still remember the game against Leipzig where he had the opportunity to square the ball to Rashford, but instead he went for the shot for himself. Then again,
yeah,
in case of Martial is a much better player in terms of creativity, as compared to that of Rashford and Greenwood. Because if Martial is surrounded by a player, that has the quality of Paul Pogba or say Bruno Fernandes, that can chip in the ball for him and can play one to touch football with him, then he is a very good player. But when I talk about Erling Haaland is just a pure goal scorer. He is not going to create anything. As you said, that Romelu Lukaku, when he was struggling for goals, used to drift wide on the pitch and used to likes to use that width of the pitch to create something or to help the team in a different way. But Erling Haaland is a pure goal scorer. He is not, he's not the kind of a player that will go out wide and will help the team in the attacking phase. He will not because he doesn't has that trait. So this is the drawback, if we will sign, Erling Haaland, the two options that I would like to have this summer is Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho. Jack Grealish is all because the reason is why I'm mentioning Jack Grealish because of the versatility that he has. He can play on the right, he can play on the left, he can play as a number 10, he can play as a number 8. So by bringing Jack Grealish, you'll be bringing a player to Old Trafford, first of all, who is a boyhood United fan, not just a Villa fan, but a boyhood United fan. And when you sign a player who loves this club, it means that he will respect that jersey more than what the rest of the players are giving it to the club. The likes of especially Paul Pogba, you know, I'm not against Paul Pogba, but you know, time and time again, his agent has disrespected the club, and not for once, Paul Pogba has come out and defended the colors of the club. Not for once. So
Yeah.
we need players who are happy to play for this club, who wants to give their everything for the club, even when they are on the bench. Because what I have seen from Alex Telles, the guy has barely played this season, but look at the passion every time we have won the game, or someone has scored a goal. He is the first person that go out and celebrate with them. And as you mentioned,
Yeah.
Parth mentioned and Tanmay also mentioned few names, that Jones is still here, Johan Mata is still here, Andres Pereza is still part of the club. So you need to offload these players. I love Yon Mata, but in order to achieve success, you need to offload some of the players, because you will be freeing up some wages, and you by doing that you can use that money and sign some of your key signings. Not for once I have felt that United have gone in the transfer market and signed their primary targets. Not for once, because what we have done over the years is we have settled with the secondary or third choice players. So Tanmay, not Tanmay, sorry, Parth, what are your thoughts on this? That United must go in this summer window with a definite plan, because we are clearly lagging behind Man City, and Man City will do everything, because now they don't have Sergio Aguero, and they will go in the market and will complete their squad in order to win every trophy, because they can do the impossible this season by winning the quadruple, as Tanmay said last night. The possibility is really
Yeah.
high this season. So, what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
this?
Okay, so first of all, the attack issue in our team, it runs deeper than just the right wing. I mean, for the life of me, I just cannot remember the last time that we signed that we actually spent on a striker other than Romelu Lukaku. And I mean, I don't count Alexis Sanchez because that was just a blunder. But other than Lukaku, we have not gone in and got us another Marcus Rashford. We have not gone in and got us another right-sided player since Nani, as you said. And right wing is obviously an issue, and we need to sort that out. But if we do manage to sort it out, then we need to also look ahead and ask ourselves. Okay, we have a left winger in Rashford, we have a right winger in Sancho, we have an attacking midfielder in Rooney. But who are they going to be supplying the balls to? Uh, because if Cavani stays, then I think the issue is simpler, and then Cavani can just feed off of them. But if Cavani does not stay, then I don't think there's a player in Anthony Martial who can make the most of those balls. Um, I know that some people in the fan base will be disagreeing with me on this, but I mean, I've defended Martial a lot, but I don't like his work rate. The talent is there, but the work rate is not. Up until last season, you used to see him score at least 15, 16 goals a season, but now it's just this season. I mean, to be very candid, he's just stamped the place up, and I don't like it. I'm actually worried. So Sancho obviously a priority. We should be going in all in for the guy. Because Van Bissaka is just going to be up there in the final third, dancing around with the ball, not knowing what to do with it. But he needs
Absolutely.
somebody up there to just play a 1-2 with him, just to hold up the ball so that he can overlap and then put in a good ball inside. So obviously Sancho will be a priority, but also what to do with the centre forward position if Cavani suddenly decides to up and leave. So yeah, some pressing issues in the team right now, especially in our attacking side. So we definitely need to look at those, and the owners need to have a willingness to spend. I mean, every window it's just shambles. They don't want to spend. There's no willingness to spend. Nothing of the sort. So they need to reach deep inside their own pockets and just go out and spend for once. Just back the manager for once.
Absolutely. Yes, Greenwood FC. Vignesh, go ahead.
Yeah, you just answered it for me. So, I kind of partially agree with Path, but not completely. I think what he's trying to say is that we should focus on getting on a striker rather than a right winger. But again, it comes back to us having not a proper right winger since Nani. Now, Greenwood is still a guy who can play there and can be feed off of Rashford and Sancho and Bruno. Can't he? I mean, the best example, I keep on saying this, I've said it many times to Tanmay and Mohak about this. Do you remember the goal he scored against Sheffield United last season?
Man,
Yep.
In a 3-3
proper
comeback.
number 9, proper number 9.
Proper number.
That was a proper number 9 movement. So if he gets the service from both of the wings and Bruno Fernandes, I think we've got a striker there. That's
And
it.
he is a natural striker, to be very honest. He's not a right winger. For all his playing career, he has played as a centre forward. And you look at his goals. Even this season, the number of goals that he has scored this season, the goal against West Ham, the cross that came from Alex Telles, it was a horrendous cross.
Exactly.
But the first touch was absolutely beautiful, and the finish, oh god, I mean orgasmic finish that was, because you know
Exactly.
a player of Greenwood's quality and Greenwood's potential, you know, needs to be played at the right position, because if you are going to play him out of position for full season, that then you are killing his potential. To be very honest, you're definitely killing his potential. You look at Foden. Foden is getting enough chances this season, and in the position that he likes to play. And Greenwood and Foden are of same age. So if one player is doing this by getting enough chances at the position that he has the confidence, and one player is playing enough games but he's playing out of position, then it's a whole different story altogether. So even if Cavani doesn't sign the contract, and I am pretty sure that he won't, because the voices are coming from Uruguay that he wants to return to South America, and that is understandable, because England's atmosphere doesn't suit everyone, and given the injury record that Cavani has, and the physicality that Premier League brings with itself, is too much to deal with. So I won't be shocked if Cavani decides to leave this club after this season, and in such situation, I don't think that we have a problem at our hands, because you have Rashford, you have Martial. If we decide to let him stay, you know, and in on the other hand, you have Greenwood, a proper number 9. So he has watched Cavani enough for this season, and he has definitely improved his game as a team player, because most of the people won't agree this, but this season Greenwood has performed much better than what he did last season, because he has become more of a team player than just being a goal scorer. So Tanmay, what are your thoughts on this, that even if Cavani leaves, do you really think that United must go in the market and sign a centre forward rather than investing on other areas like a backup right back? Because I don't think that Solskjaer trusts Diego Dallo, a right winger, because we don't have a right winger. Ahmad is here, but then again, you will be asking too much from a player who is still a teenager and who doesn't have the experience of
Yeah.
playing in the first team. And then again, you
Yeah.
are also without a proper CDM other than Matic. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I guess this team doesn't have a problem of scoring goals, at least at times. I think Greenwood, Martial, or Rashford were, I guess, outscored Salah, Mane, and Firmino last season.
Absolutely.
So these were
Yes,
the same
yes.
front three that scored so many goals, and I think goals are not a problem. I think Erling Haaland's clause, I guess, activates next season anyway.
Yeah.
So for those hopeful people, he can sign next season also. So that's not an issue. Goals is not an issue. I guess if you have such a creative output behind the number 9, even Martial got 24 goals last season, right?
Yeah.
And we still are not convinced that he is a proper centre forward.
Yeah.
Plus, we are crying out for Greenwood to step up his progression to the next level, right? And now that means playing in his actual position. So I guess it's time to do that. He can share it with Martial. If Cavani stays, then I guess the conversation is pretty much over only. And I think goals are not a problem. I think creation of this team against certain teams, that's a problem. And I think we can manage without a striker for 1 year at least. I just say that because I saw the evidence in this team last season, towards the end at least. The front three were phenomenal, and if we can create, we can score. The problem is creating rather than scoring.
Absolutely. And I don't see a reason why we are so worried about number 9, because Man City played this season without Sergio Aguero.
Yeah,
You know, he was out for
yeah,
the whole season. And talking about Liverpool, they don't even have a proper number 9, because Firmino is a number 10 and not a number 9. He was a number 10, but Klopp made him a number 9, but he is a different kind of a number 9. So if you
yeah,
already have a center forward in name of Greenwood, then I don't think that you need to go out there and invest in a center forward, at least for this season, because there are
yeah.
other areas
That's
that
what it
that
is.
are that are crying to be dealt with. So this is what I feel. And now the thing comes to Solskjaer, because it's all depends on Solskjaer, that how he is going to manage these players, because we are just left with a opportunity to win a trophy with Europa League. All right, we need to finish well in the
Yeah,
season, and how we are going to finish in the Europa League will decide our approach in the transfer market, because the management will be looking for improvement. And in today's
yeah,
time, the improvement comes from winning trophies, because every manager is judged on the basis of how much he's winning these days, not the games,
yeah,
but the silverware. Why the pundits rate Michael Arteta above Solskjaer is just because he has already won an FA Cup. So this is a big
yeah,
difference. And for Solskjaer's fans, fans like us who doesn't like Solskjaer just because he's a club legend. We like Solskjaer because we clearly see that he is building something here. We can
yeah,
clearly see the progression. We can clearly see that he is trying to move the deadwood out of the club. He is trying to inherit the United mentality back again into the squad, and the never say die spirit. So why is it so necessary for Solskjaer to win a trophy, and why is it so necessary for Solskjaer to to deal with certain individuals in a better way? I mean, with Diego Dallo, if he comes back, then Solskjaer must trust him and give him enough opportunities, because Diego Dallo is a decent player. He is not world class,
yeah,
but he is not also utter shit. He deserves
yeah,
some game time at Manchester United, because he definitely has the potential. If can be guided correctly, then Diego Dalot has all the potential to be a great defender. And if not a defender, then he could be a right winger in the future. So Parth, what are your thoughts on this? That how important is for Solskjaer to win a trophy this season? And do you really think that Solskjaer has some of his favorites in the team and he picks them over the others?
Okay, so first of all, I think that we are winning the Europa League this season. I have this gut feeling we are going to lift it. Yeah, yeah, man, yeah. We're going to lift the trophy this season. We're going to go all the way, and it's going to be amazing. But to address the more deeper issue, Mokba, since day one, when it was his interim managing days, since then, I've been a supporter of Solskjaer, and even when he got the reins full time, people since day one have been bashing him left and right. This saying he doesn't deserve this job. What are his credentials? This and that. I mean, all sorts of things, just all sorts of things, and the first thing that you should know about supporting a club is to back the manager. That's that's football 101.
That was the
You
last
should
thing
always
Sir Alex
back the
asked us.
manager.
That was the very last thing Sir
Exactly.
Alex asked us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the first thing you should know about supporting your club is to just back the manager, just give the guy some time. There is going to be progression, and there has been progression. I mean, and these people who were Ole outers till last season, uh, you will see a declining trend in the quality of their excuses as well. I mean, till last season they were like, okay, we're finishing outside the top four. Okay, fine, we finished top three. Then afterwards they were like, hey, okay, fine, we're not winning a trophy, but we got four semi-finals. Okay, but he's choking in the semi-finals. But then again we're second in the league. So it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it's just not in the favor of Ole outers anymore. It's just a matter of patience and the trust that the board is right now showing in Ole, because I think there's a world class man manager in Ole. Since Alex Ferguson, I think he's stepped it up a notch. He's not throwing his players under the bus. He's not like Jose Mourinho. He's not ruthless that way.
Thank God he is not
I think
Jose
that
Mourinho.
I'm sorry.
Thank God he is not Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God for that. But I mean, I we don't know what goes on inside the dressing room. Why are you simply bashing the manager? My question is to those who do bash him. Is why do you bash the manager just because he's smiling even after suffering a loss? Why do you do it? Just don't do it. You don't know what goes on inside the dressing room. You don't know how badly Harry Maguire is being trashed probably by Bruno Fernandes for making a missed tackle, or how badly Fred is being punished by his own teammates for that mistake against Leicester. You don't know that. So just because a manager is smiling and backing his players publicly does not mean that he's not up for giving them some punishment.
Solskjaer doesn't stand
And
on the sidelines. He don't know how to manage a
Yeah.
football team. He doesn't know how to manage his players. This and that. I mean, what pathetic excuses they come up with, man. I don't know.
uh,
So
Dancing
Tanmay,
on
yes,
the
continue.
touchline is the new tactics, right? Dancing on the touchline are the new tactics, right? If you
Yeah,
will
you
dance
need
on
to
the
be
touchline,
animated.
yellow tag.
You need to be animated.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that is the reason why I said that there's a declining trend in the quality of their excuses. And last season when before Bruno was signed, so crying out loud, man, we were playing Andres Pereira at the number 10 role. So obviously there is going to be some decline in quality. Andres Pereira replaced Paul Pogba after his injury last season. And people were going like, okay, Ole doesn't deserve the job. He's losing games left and right. Like, bro, he's replacing Paul Pogba.
I don't want.
How
I
can
don't
he?
even want to remember. That time, that horrendous
Yeah,
period.
and then Bruno comes in and he does this amazing thing, amazing output. He's got us back on the edge of our seats, and he's a massive upgrade from Andres Pereira. And Paul Pogba, since his injury back in last season in October, since then he's been just in and around injuries again. So yeah, I mean, you got to step up the excuses if you're going to be Ole out still. But I think there's been a massive progression, and I think we're going to be lifting the Europa League this season. I think we're going to be challenging for the league next season if we get Sancho, if we get a Rice or an NDD. And yeah, just back the manager, trust the process. That's all.
Absolutely. Tanmay, there is a certain section of fan base that even criticize Bruno. Can you imagine? They
Yeah.
literally abuse Bruno, and there are fans that say that United are where they are just because of Bruno. But
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing to them, that it was Solskjaer who asked the board to sign Bruno. It was not the board.
Exactly.
It
Who
was
is the
not the
blame for?
board. He cried his heart out in the summer that I am begging you that please go out there and sign Bruno Fernandes. So Woodward resisted the move. They refused to pay 60 odd million for Bruno Fernandes, but Pogba got injured, McTominay got injured, we were reduced to Fred and Matic, and that forced the board. We lost the game against Liverpool, at Anfield, and that was the pinnacle, because after that game, we lost against Brighton as well after that, if I'm not wrong.
Burnley.
Yeah, Burnley. So
Yeah,
after
Burnley.
losing those two games, the board all of a sudden realized, all right, we are in trouble. Our houses might get attacked. If we don't sign Bruno Fernandes now, and then they paid that same amount that the sporting club was asking them to pay in the summer. So this is the lack of management that we are dealing with at our club. So, do you really think that, even if we win a trophy, hopefully we will win the Europa League? Do you really think that Woodward will support Solskjaer, on whatever basis that Solskjaer is asking him to?
I, I genuinely think he wants to, but I don't think so. His methods of supporting are good enough. He wants a shiny toy once every 2 3 years, a big signing, a big blockbuster move. I think that's his definition of support, but it's not really good enough, right? And regarding what your question was, I remember us before playing the last game against Leicester in the league last season, when we thought, okay, seize the Champions League qualification, sign Jadon Sancho or sign Jack Grealish, and be in the Champions League next season. Because if we are in the Champions League, we'll pay what Dortmund want, we'll have the additional money, we'll get Sancho. Did that happen? No. So even if we win a trophy, I'm planning this time to remain a little bit pessimistic so that I don't have to cry myself to sleep again after we lose out on Sancho for a second. So, frankly, frankly, no, I don't think so because I was very hopeful after winning that Leicester game that honestly it's going to be a fabulous window. It turned out to be a disaster. So, I won't be keeping an expectation for it, but if you ask my gut feeling, I think there will be one big signing accompanied by probably a medieval signing and a teenage signing. I guess those are the three I feel. I think we will sign Jadon Sancho and that will be the big signing. But I don't expect anything more than that. That's my opinion.
Absolutely. Vignesh, we all can agree on this that United has been hit hard by the pandemic because the fans are not turning up for the games, and it has really caused a big what I can say, financial, we have got been hit financially by this absence of fans. But then again, you cannot blame the situation just because of the pandemic. It's because even in this situation the Glazers are taking out the money, you know and if we are
Yeah.
facing such a situation, then why the hell you are taking the money out of the club? Look at Man City, look at Liverpool. And the basic difference between Man City and Man United is the owners are really passionate about winning trophies. Our owners are not passionate about winning trophies. Our owners are not passionate about investing into the club so that we can be back to where we really belong. So this is what the problem is with us. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you really believe that Solskjaer, after, even if he'll achieve something this season, you know will get enough signings, and will get the right signings?
Uh, well, with the appointment from John Motto now, new DOF, and technical director Aaron Fletcher, I am a bit hopeful that he will be back. But again, I sometimes laugh, from last summer because you know everybody say that the clubs were under pandemic and we lost money, match day earnings and all. I remember clubs like Liverpool asked help from government to help them to see the pandemic out and help their staffs and other people to pay them up. After asking 100 million from the government, they spent on their signings, haven't they? So
Absolutely.
what is our excuse? I mean, I'm proud that we didn't ask for any help and we were still able to pay every staff member and all. But aren't we the richest club in the world? Aren't we? So where exactly the money is going? And like you pointed out, Mohak, that other owners, they are ambitious. They put their money inside the club, and our owners take it outside of it. So it's not helping. But I read somewhere this. I don't remember quite clearly, but that one of the family members is very passionate about United, and he's really waiting for us to being back to our best. But uh, the things at the moment are not helping. I mean, as much as we criticize Ed Woodward for not helping the manager, it's not like that we haven't spent it at all. But when the times comes to what do you say, finalizing the deal, you obviously need permission from your owners to get that signing done. So the majority of the blame I think should go to Glazers compared to Woodward, because we all know how good a businessman he is in terms of negotiating and all. Even the difficult times we are able to get. I know we took a hit in terms of sponsors, but we still managed to get a decent one. Rather than stooping down a bit more and more low. So that shows that he's a good negotiator. The problem is from the owners who are not ambitious enough, I would say, and they won't sanction the money for the manager. Now coming back to Ole, I think It's been 4 years now since we haven't won a major trophy, and next year it will be five. Which I mean, next year it means 2021-22
Yeah.
season, where it will be first time since Sir Alex Ferguson's departure. It will be 5 years we haven't won a major trophy. So
Yeah.
that's a big issue, and I agree to the Ole outers that at times that he will be judged on trophies. But my question is, I mean, haven't you seen the improvement? Haven't you? I mean, did those people behave like they haven't seen? There have been no improvement at all since Jose Mourinho's departure. I mean, quite clearly, it's visible the changes he made, the fitness level of our team. Every player is now dying to play for us. The players which are here at the moment, I'm not talking about signings.
Yeah.
Uh, so everybody's fighting for the club. And like Parth and Tanmay made a good point that in his first season, Paul Pogba, Martial, and Rashford were out for quite a bit long. We still managed to finish the league inside top four. So that speak volumes. With the likes of Pereira and Lingard, we managed to get top four. So imagine if he gets the players he wants, where we will be. So I feel yes, any manager needs backing, but I'm pretty hopeful that this season we will end up with winning a Europe League.
All right. So we will wrap this video with with your signings of the season. What will be the ideal window for us? I'll ask each one of you, and then I'll let you know about my signings. So I'll start with Tanmay. Tanmay, what will be your ideal window, and who will be the players that you would like us to sign?
I guess Jadon Sancho is now the most obvious thing on the planet. So Jadon Sancho, obviously. Um, I think Pogba will go, and that will free up the funds for a midfielder. I think we should do the smart deal, uh, handing West Ham Jesse Lingard and getting Declan Rice. So Rice would be my second, and I think we agree that centre back may not be the biggest issue, but the club are not looking at it that way. I think there will be a centre back. I'm not so sure that it will be somebody like a Varane or a, I guess Upamecano is pretty much gone, right? So
Yeah, he's off to
I
Bayern.
think it will be somebody like Pau Torres, Ben White, or Jules Kounde or something. I don't believe in this Jules Kounde hype train because I
Makes
see
no
his
sense, bro.
limitations quite a bit. Pau Torres is an interesting one. I like him, but again, he's pretty similar to what we already have. Uh, Ben White would be an interesting one, an underrated one. Most people won't agree, but I think he's a very good
I
player
like him as a player,
by
to be very
watching him.
honest.
Yeah, yeah. He that's basically is in the phase where Declan Rice was 3 years ago, right? He was just criticized 3 years ago because he was English and he was overpriced. But now
Absolutely.
look at Declan Rice. Now he's suddenly a good player for everyone. I think Ben White is in that period. He's a
Absolutely.
very good centre back, very good on the ball, and just because he's good on the ball doesn't mean he's not good physically, right? That's a myth also. So I like Ben White. So contrary to other people's opinions, I would say Ben White as my third sign. So I guess it will be White, uh, Declan Rice, and Jadon Sancho.
All right.
I
What about
think
you, Tanmay?
that's my dream scenario.
Yeah. So, what are your, what will be your signings, Parth?
Okay, so before I get into this issue, just a little quick thing. I think that we should stop prioritizing deals one by one. I think we should start working on them simultaneously because I mean, I mean, all of us have seen it. There's a particular saga. It goes on for the entire duration of the transfer window, and then we make panic buys. So that needs to stop before we can start dreaming. But ideally, yeah, prioritize Jadon Sancho, and then afterwards go for a defensive midfielder before a centre back. Go for a defensive midfielder, and if by some miracle, I mean, if God gives them some sort of brain or something over the course of a fortnight, I'm talking about the Blazers here, and if they suddenly become ambitious, then I would love for them to go for Pau Torres or Jules Kounde. But I think Kounde is, I mean, 80 million is too much. Too
Yeah.
much. If you're going for Sancho, 80 million is too much. So you gotta put a bound to your dreams here. But yeah, if you're signing Sancho, then Pau Torres is perfectly fine, along with the stadium, of course.
All right. What about you, Vignesh?
My my dream would be three signings. That includes obviously the right wing, central defensive midfielder, and I'm pretty sure that we won't get a centre forward if we get Jadon Sancho. Now, naming them would be obviously Sancho at the right wing. Central defensive, my dream would be NDD over Rice, but NDD will be 80 million. Leicester will won't sell lesser than that. The upper hand we have in the Rice. Yeah, so it will be harder to get NDD compared to Rice because in Rice situation we've got Lingard involved, so pretty much like a swap plus money. Um, so that's that. And in terms of I think centre forward, so we're not gonna get. I think if we get right wing, so that leaves us with centre back. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fan of Wesley Fofana from Leicester. He's quick, he's fast, he's physically good,
Bro,
and
at least
he
80,
had
85 million.
I know dealing with Leicester is never easy.
You better ask for Ronaldo as well then.
No, I really feel. I mean, if you forget about your budget momentarily and start dreaming that I think he's got got good sense of himself. He's got knowledge of positioning himself well in terms of critical conditions. He's physically good and he's pacey,
Yeah.
which what we're looking for a centre back this
Yeah.
summer. So that would be my dream signings.
All right.
Okay, mine would be Mbappe, Lionel Messi.
You're talking
I'm
about
not kidding.
we're talking
No,
about
but
ideal
I
signings,
don't.
Tanmay.
No, I know dealing with Leicester is difficult, but that doesn't mean Fofana will cost 80 years. It might be
No,
maximum
they
would be
actually
50.
signed him last season only, so
Yeah,
it's not going to
He
be
has
an
a
easy
5-year
sign.
contract.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. We're talking about dream team. That's why I named him.
yeah. I mean,
Realistically, he's not possible.
yeah,
Then my
absolutely.
targets were pretty accurate, right? I was doing well with Mbappe.
Talking about my dream signings for next season, it's so obvious that we want Jadon Sancho. I mean, I was 100% sure that we will sign him last season. I was so sure. Parth knows this, Vignesh also, and Tanmay also knows this. Because I was actually, writing stuff about him everywhere
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on my channel and on my Insta page as well. So I was seriously very very sure, but this season this is a thing we should do, that we need to sign Jadon Sancho now. And even if Cavani leaves, I don't feel that we need to sign a centre forward at least this year. Now talking about the CDM
Yeah.
situation, we can go for Zakaria, we can go for NDD, and we can go for Rice. In Declan Rice's situation, the upper hand we have in this situation is we can use Jesse Lingard to lower some of the amount in that deal, and that would be perfect. I don't want to go to Leicester, beg them to give us NDD, and at the end of the day we will end up paying 80 85 millions like what we did for Harry Maguire. And you know when it comes to centre back, I really like Tyron Minks. Seriously, I like that guy. He is a modern day
You are
Rio
not
Ferdinand
no,
according to me. He is a modern day Rio Ferdinand according to me, because physically he is a monster. Pace wise he has a lot of pace, and the way he reads his game, he is a perfect player for Manchester United, because that's
But
what.
but he's also English, so might
Yeah,
cost
yeah, he
100
must be
million.
shit. He must be shit also, just because he's
Bro,
No, just
It-
overhyped
it-
and overpriced.
no,
80 plus British tax.
no, Parth, I don't feel that every time we talk about an English player, it's like he will fail if he comes to this
No, no,
club.
no.
He
I'm
won't.
just saying that. I'm just saying that just because he's English, he might be overpriced. That's
Yeah,
the reason.
it is a possibility, and it is very natural. But if you compare Van Dijk's season with Southampton, and if you compare Tyron Mings' season with Aston Villa, Tyron Mings is a much better player at Aston Villa than what VVD was at Southampton. And I'm not exaggerating it. I am just stating facts here, because Southampton were facing relegation, almost facing relegation. The season Liverpool signed VVD, and he was also struggling there. But that's what a player can do and a club can do to a player. It works both ways. So if we can successfully bring Tyron Mings to United, and if not Tyrone Mings, then Rafael Varane. Because by signing Varane, you'll be signing an experienced player, a player who is a winner. Sergio Ramos, I would have loved to bring in Sergio Ramos, because you would have brought a player who is a born leader. He'll go to any length to win. He is an out and out asshole in terms of winning a game, because he doesn't care about his image. He never does. All he cares about is winning the game of football. He'll lead his team in whatever way he can, and he'll score goals, he'll throw in tackles. He doesn't care about the red cards or the yellow cards. What he'll do is he'll give his 100% for the whole of the 90 minutes, that or whatever minutes he's going to be there on the field. So Rafael Varane is a player that we are chasing since 2013. So it's you can call it as an obsession or what, but I really want to have Rafael Varane at United, because Jules Koundé is not the kind of player that we really need at this club. He doesn't have the height. You can talk about the pace and all, but everything. Look at his recent 5 performances. He has been absolute shit. He has been absolute shit. So if
He
a
has been
player is
playing
not
at right back also.
yeah, and if a player is not performing well in Spanish league, a league that is not so physical, then how you are so confident that he'll come to Old Trafford, he'll come to a league that is 10 times more physical than the Spanish league, and will do well. Because when you put this jersey, it brings extra pressure along with itself. Even the greatest of the greats have failed at Old Trafford. So it's not an easy club to play for. And talking about Pau Torres and Lindelof are, player of similar qualities. I don't see any difference. Both are really weak. Both have, both doesn't have the pace to support Harry Maguire. So what is the point of bringing another centre back who cannot, help Harry Maguire in a better way than what Lindelof is already doing at the club? So it doesn't make any sense to me. So these are the signings that I am hopeful for, and I really don't think that we are going to sign any of them, because we are talking about Manchester United here. We are talking about Ed Woodward and Glazers. So it was a great discussion, guys. I really liked the whole of the discussion, because it was so fluent, and never for once that I felt like that we are recording it, because it was so natural. So whoever is watching this, kindly subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like the video. Drop in your comments about what are your thoughts on our recent performances, and what will be the 3 ideal signings for you, because more than 3 we are not going to sign. So it's not a possibility for us that we are going to sign more than 3 players. So
He is big enough.
yeah, more even if we will sign 2 players, I'll be happy, because we are not going to sign more than that.
You like it?
Yeah, delighted.
Same.
Over the top. So thank you guys, thank you Tanmay, thank you Parth, thank you Vignesh, and take care. GGMU.
Yep.
Cheers, man.